Slightly different live that we're going to be doing today. We are doing our first ever Christmas planning live. In particular, today is just going to be a short live, but we're giving anybody who's watching the opportunity to check in with us. We're going to have a really nice kind of loose discussion around our Christmas plans, and we're also going to be putting just a small emphasis, only a small one today, I promise you, on some of the things that we can do to look after ourselves and take care of ourselves during Christmas, which can be a really joyous time for some, but can also be really difficult as well. If you haven't met me before, my name is Charlie. I'm the deputy lead here at Isseropia, and what that means briefly is that I do a lot of lives like this, and I spend a lot of my time as well supporting our members in-house. And if you haven't met Catherine before.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Catherine. So I'm fairly new to Isseropia. Just been here about a month, but have actually been through the service myself. So really pleased to be joining you this morning on Christmas Eve.
Exactly. It's very, very kind. And you might not be aware of this, but it's Catherine's first live today. And she has stepped in at just the last minute as well. So it's really, really appreciated. And hopefully it's going to be a really nice experience for us today. So just to reiterate what we're doing today, very relaxed discussion, just going to be talking about our Christmas plans. And if there's anything that you want to contribute and share, please do. We've just got 3 questions we're going to have a little look at today. So to kick us off, to start with, we're going to have a little look at what are you doing for Christmas. So yeah, there it is. It's just come up on screen. If it's something that you're comfortable sharing, please do. But otherwise, what are you doing for Christmas, Catherine?
So this Christmas, I'll be spending some time with my family. I know a lot of us will be doing that. My 2 children will be at home, and my parents, who are very elderly, will be coming over and spending Christmas Day and Boxing Day with us. I'm very much looking forward to Christmas this year because it's after last year. I didn't get to spend it with my parents because of COVID. I know we're in COVID a little bit now, but at least we've got the opportunity to see people this year that perhaps we didn't get a chance to see last year. So I'm very much looking forward to it, but equally I do know that it's going to be a busy couple of days, so I'm preparing myself for that as well.
Yeah, spot on. It's really nice that you've already mentioned that you're being able to spend time with family this year, whereas last year we weren't able to. I'm not going to go into huge detail around it, but of course COVID was rife around this time last year, especially on the island. And I know our family had all of these plans as well. We were going to get all of our cousins down, and there were going to be about 15 of us. And on Christmas Eve, my mum got COVID, which immediately put a stop to all of our plans. But there we go, that's the past. And for me, I know this year is going to be quite similar to you actually in that essence. It's going to be lots of family coming down, regular checks on the old lateral flows, and otherwise just a few board games. We're going to go for our traditional Christmas walk. This is something I only found out recently. Christmas pie, fish pie. Is that a Christmas tradition?
It's not one that I've heard of,
no,
Charlie.
It's not.
No,
really random tangent there. My mum is completely sure that fish pie is a Christmas tradition.
I don't think so.
No, good. No. I'll take that argument back to her later. But there we go. That's a little bit about us. I can see that we've had a couple of comments. We've got one from Pixie. Hi, Charlie. I've not met you yet. I'm Tiffany. Very nice to have you.
Hello, Tiffany. I might have met you once or twice already, I think. Hope you're having a nice Christmas Eve.
Exactly. If I haven't met you yet, Tiffany, hopefully it won't be too long as well. I'll really look forward to that. So for yourself, Tiffany, I was going to say, what are you doing for Christmas? What are your plans that you've got lined up? We've got Maria who's joining, not in my house, Charlie. Good, I'm glad to hear that. Honestly, I don't like fish pie, and I think I'm trying to find any reason at this point to make an argument to not have it. But I'm glad it's not a tradition where you are. And we've got Amy. Hello, Amy. Very nice to have you. You've said just popping on to wish you all a fabulous Christmas. # Team Isseropia and all you wonderful members. Keep up the great work and stay safe, everyone. Mucho love. Yes, fish pie is not a Christmas tradition, Squirrel. Thank you.
There you go.
That's really nice to hear.
I think we've found out now that Christmas pie is not a standard Christmas fish pie. It's not a standard Christmas meal.
It's not. Honestly, I thought she was inventing something. But there we go. If you're not having fish pie, what is it that you're having for Christmas? We have Rebecca saying, popping in to say hi, got to go do more Christmas shopping. very good. Last minute, very important. I know I've been there plenty of times before. Hope everyone has a gentle holiday period. It is really nice to see that we've got a few people popping on just to say hi, and that's exactly what this live is about. Just a last little check-in, opportunity to say Merry Christmas to each other, and to investigate a bit more what we're doing. So we have Susie. What Susie said?
Wallpapering, Susie.
Wallpapering.
As I've been struggling, need a distraction. Oh, that's a big job for Christmas, wallpapering.
I've heard it takes an awful long time, but I'm actually really, really pleased that you kind of brought that in there, Susie, because we've got to acknowledge that some of us are more fortunate around this time.
Yeah.
I know my plans were scuppered last year, but this year it's looking like I'm going to be able to spend it with my family.
Yeah.
But Christmas isn't always a really positive time for people, and it can be incredibly important to keep up an element of distraction and ultimately to keep focusing on ourselves as well. So, Susie, I think that sounds like a great plan. If it's something that's going to work for you, if it's something that's going to keep you well, then of course that's what we want to be encouraging as well. So we have Pixie who says, going to be a laid-back Christmas this year with my son and partner. Plans changed last minute, so really looking forward to tomorrow.
That's really good.
That's good.
Really good. You've got some nice plans ahead for Tiffany with your partner and son. That sounds really nice. Yeah. And once we get, I think quite a lot, you say, when you're looking forward to tomorrow now, I think we spend a lot of the week before Christmas madly doing things and struggling perhaps to keep on top of things. And I think once we get to this point, we're almost there. We're almost there. All our plans, we've hopefully got all our presents, hopefully got them wrapped. I'm not sure you have, Charlie.
I actually haven't. No, you've called me out.
Yeah.
That's the job for this evening.
But the pressure sometimes feels like it's a little bit off when we get to this point. Christmas Day is just literally ahead of us now.
Exactly right. Sometimes there's a lot of stress that comes with the planning. I know that I've I've not been asked to cook a Christmas meal before, but I know that can be hugely stressful as well.
Okay.
And I know especially in the last 10 days or so, I think everyone's been extra vigilant. I don't know if that's been the case for you, but making sure that we're not going out as much, putting ourselves at risk of getting COVID as well. Now it's a day away.
Yeah, just being more careful, I think. I drove down in Ryde last night in Union Street, and I thought it would be really busy, but it was actually quite quiet. So I think people are taking that advice, because I think there's so much about that we're taking the advice just to be a bit more careful, and maybe perhaps not going out quite as much as perhaps we would have wanted to, but just being careful as well for relatives, especially if you've got older relatives coming to stay with you, and or even little babies coming around. People are just being that bit more careful, making sure
that little bit more vigilant. I think it's a really natural place for us to be in as well. But hopefully starting to relax a little bit. Actually, we've got the comments pouring in, which is lovely. So we have Maria, who says, same to you, Amy, and everyone at Sropia. I hope everyone has the most wonderful time. Love, Colette. Thank you, Colette. That's very nice. We have also Pixie, who comes back saying, I have my distraction box at the ready just in case. So have you heard of one of these before?
I've heard of a distraction box.
Yes, good.
And I think we were talking about distraction boxes, I think, Tiffany, in a workshop this week, and we were talking about the things that we could put in there, that we could, in those moments when we want to have some time to ourselves. So good movie. Maybe a little bit of, I don't know if you're crafty, a little bit of crafty things in there. Just some nice little pictures in there, maybe, of family and things like that as well. So distraction boxes are really useful.
They are. So actually only a concept that I've come across recently, but distraction boxes are amazing. And I know that I've got mindful colouring in mine. I'm not an artist, but sometimes just the opportunity to do something a bit different helps ground us, doesn't it? That's really positive. And she says, something I learned from one of these workshops. There you go. So thank you. We've got Katie. Very nice to see you, Katie.
Hi, Katie.
Thank you for joining us. Really nice to have you. Let us know what you're doing for Christmas as well. And Rebecca says, grieving and unwell this year, but we're all at Dad's, including kiddo, so going to make sure tomorrow's a good day with plenty of distraction. Good. Coming back to that distraction. Take care, all. You've made it through another year, so well done. Keep fighting.
That's lovely, Rebecca. Really nice to hear. And really nice to hear that you've got your plans ahead and you've thought about maybe preparing a little bit before the Christmas day, and what may being with family sometimes is wonderful, but sometimes it can be a little bit too much as well, too pressurized.
Yeah, spot on. I like that you're going to be spending time with the kiddos as well. I'm sure that'll keep you plenty distracted, I would imagine. Really good. We have Megan that says Merry Christmas to everybody. We have Pixie who says, it's been a great help having one, really good. We have James who's popped on, says, keep up the good work, people. Merry Christmas at work myself. James, I'm so sorry to hear that you're working today. Hopefully you've got a little bit of time off.
I was going to say, hopefully maybe tomorrow you might have some time off. Usually if you can work Christmas Eve, you might be able to get some time off over Christmas with the family.
That's true. Actually, it's very nice to see that you popped on, even despite your work as well, to say hi. That's great. Thank you, James. Merry Christmas to you as well. And we have Naomi who's joined us, one of our staff as well, popping in to say hi. Hello,
Naomi.
I hope you're enjoying your time off. That's good. And then otherwise we're back to where we started, which is good. So recognizing that a few of us might already have some hopefully really solid plans ahead of us, I want to change the question a little bit, just for us to have a little discussion maybe about what does Christmas mean to you? Because I know that this is, how would I put it? I know that people have some really traditional views potentially around what Christmas means to them. Some people might have a really fixed idea around it, but something that I've come to understand over the course of my lifetime is that people have really different ideas potentially of what Christmas means to them. I know for a fact it has, religious connotations, of course, with Christianity. So for a lot of people, it can be about celebrating the birth of Jesus. But I know that there's got many, many more meanings as well. What would Christmas mean to you?
For me, it's always been really about family time, spending some time, because working, it's very difficult sometimes to get that time where you get actual couple of days where you can spend 2 days with the family, and they're off work as well, so you can actually have that quality time. I always see Christmas as well as towards the end of the year, so I'm thinking I'm ready to start maybe a fresh thing, something new after Christmas as well. I always see it as fresh. Although it's the end of the year, it feels cold, it's not so nice outside, but I do see it as a fresh beginning. But for me, I used to go to church a lot at Christmas, and as a child and as a younger adult, I used to go a lot. So for me, it does mean a lot spiritually to me, as well as just presents. But I love it to see people that you've not seen for a while, and they're getting presents and they're opening them. I love that part of Christmas, to see that joy in other people's faces.
It's really, really nice. And I love that you kind of mentioned, going to church as well. It's that sense of belonging, perhaps, that you might have with a community, whether that's your family or otherwise, potentially a sense of connectedness as well. I think for me, probably Christmas follows those lines. It's about spending time, for me, with the people that you love, but actually probably more importantly than that, because that isn't always possible, like it wasn't for me last year. It's about taking time to recharge, I think, and to indulge, shall we say, to indulge a little bit.
I think we've been indulging a little bit here at Isopia over the past few days with some of the lovely presents, chocolates that have been sent to us. But it is one of those days where you can forget other things and just say, just for today, I'm going to treat myself.
Exactly, treating yourself. I think it's really important. We did have a lovely hamper that was delivered to us early on in the week. A huge mountain of snacks. We decided as a team we could not possibly finish it, and it's safe to say we're pretty much there now. It's true, but it's a different kind of time of year, isn't it? Where we might live with these really rigid boundaries about how we need to maintain what we need to do. But at Christmas, I think it's important to recognise that it's okay for us to take a little bit of a sidestep out of our normal. We want to be kind of compassionate to ourselves, especially where we might indulge with the eating, the self-care, making time potentially for yourself as well,
and not being hard on yourself for that, because I think that's another thing that we tend to do, is to be hard on ourselves when we're enjoying ourselves. Sometimes we feel that we shouldn't be enjoying ourselves, But I find that just for those few days, you can just forget about those things and just do what you want to do, do what you'd like to do. If you're on a diet, have a little bit of cake for once. And just like I said, just give yourself a little treat. Yeah.
I think that's really, really important.
Yeah. Without the consequence of you then thinking.
Without the guilt, reminding yourself that it's okay this time of year.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to come back to the comments because I saw we had a couple. We have Katie who says, I'm working as I find Christmas really difficult and hard to manage. Best to keep busy. I think that's actually a really important step to take as well. If you're not comfortable with Christmas, if you're recognizing that it might be a time of increased stress or anxiety for you potentially, actually immersing yourself in your work can be a really, really good, healthy coping mechanism.
To a point.
To a point, yeah.
So yeah, you can. Obviously, work is a great distraction. It has been for me in the past, a fantastic way to actually do something and you feel like you're being valued for what you're doing. But as long as we keep that in check and that we're not doing too much work and we are allowing ourselves some space and some time for your own self-care, really, over the Christmas period.
Exactly. Really, really important. So we have Pixie saying hello to Naomi, and we also have Naomi saying hi to Tiffany. But coming back to the next comment that we've got, Susie says, in my dreams, Christmas is waking up with my grandchildren, jumping on the bed, saying that Santa has been, having a lovely dinner, all sat around a table with lots of chatter and laughter, playing games with the grown-ups when the kids are in bed. I wish and can only dream. And this is the thing, we might have an ideal sense of what Christmas should look like or could look like for us. But sometimes it isn't practical or realistic as well for where we find ourselves in the meantime. And although I think it's important that we keep these goals in mind, because for me, it's something that hopefully a lot of us will be able to strive towards as we go into the future, as we keep working on ourselves, as we gravitate to where we want to be in life. It's also important to have a plan B. And I think that plan B should always focus around whatever it is that you need in that moment.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I know that for yourself, Susie, you mentioned that you're going to be doing wallpapering. I think that's possibly a very good idea, but I would like to hear outside of the wallpapering.
Yeah.
Perhaps something that you might do to indulge a little bit.
Yeah, and you've got some beautiful dogs at home as well, Susie. So, just even spending some time with your dogs. I know for me, they are sometimes my saviors. I absolutely adore my dogs, and they distract me. They're always up to no good, so they're funny, and I just love that time to be able to take them out and go out in the fresh air and just have some time for me, with no one else around me apart from the dogs, and they don't mind what I'm saying, and they're just so I know you've got some dogs at home, and they must provide you with some distraction there, definitely.
Exactly. Yeah, really, really important that. And I'm just trying to think about the things that I tend to do as well when things aren't quite going my way, because I enjoy Christmas, but I don't necessarily always feel comfortable for the entire day.
No.
There might be specific parts of the day that actually I know I'm going to get anxious about, whether it's being sat around the whole table with all of the family.
Yeah.
Whether it's worrying about the games that potentially might come later in the evening. And I know that something that's important for me as well during these kind of stressful times is just to allow myself to take myself away as well. Catherine,
and this has been crucial for me. Christmas can be overwhelming. Excuse me. We may have people with us that we don't necessarily get on with that well, or we do, but in short doses, small doses, rather than having them with us for long periods of time. So I know that I have to build into my Christmas day some moments of time for me. So I will set in boundaries with the people that I'm there with over Christmas, and I will make sure that they know that I need to take 10 minutes, and I'll go and take 10 minutes and maybe just go for a walk around the block. But that's my 10 minutes, and it just will help me to then be able to go back in and spend the rest of the day with them. So I think it's just really important that you do put your own boundaries in, so that you're not taken for granted, basically, and you're not stuck maybe in a room with people for a very, very long period of time that might not be very comfortable for you.
Yeah. So it comes back to, what does Christmas mean to me or to you? For me, it's about actually ourselves as well. It doesn't have to be about family, about connectedness.
No.
It can be about you prioritizing yourself.
Yeah.
And your own needs, and whether that is indulging, whether that is spending a bit of time with family, whether that's actually quietly taking yourself away and watching your favorite film or something like that.
Yeah.
It's all okay.
Yeah.
It's all.
It is. It is all okay, and that's the way that we've got to see this, because it can be daunting. It can be too much for us, and I think if we can break the day down as well into sections, rather than seeing it as a whole day and, oh my God, all these people are coming for the whole day. So if you break it into little sections of the day and then build yourself in a little bit of time in each of those sections, so that you can have some time on your own, recharge briefly, go back in, enjoy it much more, and then come out again. I think that's, that is the best way that I would approach it. Definitely this Christmas for me.
Exactly. Makes a lot of sense. And I think this kind of ties in really nicely actually to our next question, the last question that we've got, because recognizing that it's a stressful time is going to impact on our mental health potentially. And it might be that during this time we have to start to focus on adding a couple of things into our routine, things that might keep us well. So to that end, we have a question here. What are you doing to keep yourself well for Christmas? Thinking ahead to the plans that you've got, what are the things that you're doing, not for other people, but for you, to keep you at the center of that picture? Before we have a little look at that, come back to the comments for a second. We have Katie that says, point taken about self-care. I'll try. Very good. Very good. It's an important consideration to have, isn't it? Yeah. Doesn't need to be anything dramatic, but see if there's something that you can identify perhaps that you want to work in tomorrow outside of the work. And we have Samantha that says, Merry Christmas to you all. I'm having a fry up soon around my mum's, waiting for everyone to arrive. Wow, I'm jealous.
Sounds nice.
That's like magic.
Yeah.
What's the music to my ears? That's the saying, isn't it? I'd quite like a fry up. That can be a new Christmas tradition in the morning, I think.
Yeah,
I'll invent that one.
Replace the fish pie
with fry-ups.
I
think we'll do that. And Samantha, Merry Christmas to you as well. And that sounds like you've got an amazing day coming up as well. So really, really good. So coming back to this question, what are you going to do to keep yourself well at Christmas? And I know that before we came online today, we had a little bit of a chat, didn't we?
Yeah.
About some of the things that potentially might prove to be instrumental to keeping us well during the next couple of days or so. And the first thing that we kind of talked about was routine. Routine being really, really important. And if you've been working with the Seropia for a while, or perhaps you've been doing a lot of work on your own mental health, you'll understand the importance of well-being at any point in the calendar year. And maintaining that routine as well can be something that's really, really important. So I know it's a little bit late in the day. Actually, it's not necessarily, because we've still got today, but planning in advance, I think is really, really important. Being prepared is half the battle. So if we can already start to perhaps recognize where our stressful points might be during the day, start to factor in already some kind of ideas for where we want to be at what time, it can prove really useful potentially to have that structure.
Yeah, it can. Routines are just so important for lots of us. I think some of us function only by routine.
Yes.
And so I know I've got my routine planned already for tomorrow. But in that routine, like we said, I've built in some time to myself. So it's Christmas Eve. I know people might not think about this, building in a routine today, but I think it'd be really beneficial. Just spend 5 minutes just mapping out your day perhaps tomorrow.
Really good.
And it doesn't take long, but just putting in there some points that are non-negotiables, really, that are your time, that your 5-10 minutes here and there, your half an hour, that you're not going to budge on those. And the rest of the day is for everybody else as well as you.
So balance.
Yeah, it's having the balance. Yeah.
Exactly. And, talking about factoring things in, self-care has to come back into it. I know Katie kind of identified that as well.
Yeah.
But we can't shy away from the fact that, we're still going to have to look after ourselves someday. So keeping up with the self-care potentially as well. Adding in extra activities that you enjoy. Again, it's indulgence a little bit, not full blast, don't go too far. It's about finding that kind of balance, but allowing yourself to do a few things that you might not do otherwise, just to celebrate you, because it is about you. It's about you recharging and enjoying yourself as much as you can. Finding time for yourself, exactly like you were saying there, Catherine. Recognizing it doesn't have to be all about family.
No.
Exactly. This is a little bit of a different piece of advice, but if you're struggling with your sleep, something that could be really useful is to stick to your normal bedtimes as well. So we all know how important our sleep is with our mental health as well. I was going to say, if there's a particular part of Christmas that you're struggling with, make sure that you potentially ask a family member or a friend to check in with you. So if you know that there's going to be a part of the day that might cause you additional stress, just making sure that you've made perhaps somebody aware so they can come and spend a little bit of time with you just to get you through those moments as well. But most importantly, when it comes to routine, we have to take charge of creating our own experiences, our own happiness. And that comes back to indulging and treating yourself. So I can see we've got a couple of comments. We have animals are excellent company and can help you feel grounded and calm. Really good. They can be really important for many people's well-being, giving your pets and yourself some extra love.
Yeah.
I know that's a big part for you, isn't it, as well? You've got a massive dog lover.
Yes.
June, replying to Amy Cripps, saying, Amy Cripps, happy Christmas to you, Cripsy. June, you're on annual leave.
Yes.
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
What are
You
you
should
doing?
be in bed.
Exactly. Bless you, but thank you for joining us, June. Anyway, Samantha says, I'm looking forward to my Christmas dinner tomorrow. Really good, so looking forward to that. I think that's probably my favourite part of Christmas, actually. Just getting into a big old
I don't
turkey.
imagine you get too involved in the preparation.
Sometimes I peel potatoes.
Do you?
Sometimes. Okay. Yeah. That's a separate conversation. And then we have can't be a lovely Christmas dinner. And Susie saying, I'm with Katie. Work today that is good for my mental health. Work is my safety zone. Unfortunately, it's shut, so I have to be at home. I like my dinner, finding a good movie on TV and cuddling the dogs. Brilliant.
There you go.
Really good. Really, really important, that as well. It's interesting because we talk a lot about comfort zones, don't we? We're always talking about the comfort zones that we create, and usually it's a really healthy adaptation. But sometimes it can be good for us to actually start to create new comfort zones, and it doesn't always have to be home where our comfort zone is. For you, it's work, Susie.
Yeah.
I know that work's a part of my comfort zone as well. And I think something that I'm seeing which is really positive there is that you're also making that time to create that space for yourself. You're making a second comfort zone outside of work, one with your dogs, a couple of cuddles, finding a good film.
Yeah, and your settee.
Yeah, your settee as well. Have you got a film you'd recommend?
No, I'm not. Don't ask me about films. I'm not really a filmy person. No, but do you have any?
I'm not that fussed by Christmas films, apart from Home Alone, which is a classic. But my all-time favorite film, Mulan, the Disney. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
What's your favorite films? What's your favorite film, Susie? But I know that mine would be Mulan if I was going to do that. Just good. And Amy says, replying to herself, June Kinnair and Chew and yours, Flower. Very, very nice. So I think we'll hang around for another few minutes, if that's all right. Because I know that there are just a couple more points perhaps that we can make around what it is that we can do to keep ourselves well for Christmas. And you've mentioned boundaries already a little bit, Catherine, but is there anything you'd like to add to that? Because I think it's instrumental.
So think about boundaries for for me, I need to set in some very strong boundaries for my parents, because my parents want to take all of me whenever they're there with me. If you see what I mean, they need to have my full attention. Now, if they're with me all Christmas Day and Boxing Day, that's a lot of time for me to be having to present myself and be visible and there with them. So, this year I've already decided that I'm going to say to them, I'm just going to take some time out for myself. And I've already decided that this year I can do that. I feel confident enough to make that. But for me, it's protecting me, and so that I enjoy Christmas. And actually, they may enjoy it better as well, because they'll get an opportunity to talk to other members of the family rather than just me being with them all the time. But I think as well, we need to think about boundaries, and as much as what people might expect from us over Christmas.
That's a really good point.
So it could be that people expect you maybe to have more alcohol than you would normally have over Christmas. There could be other things that they're expecting from you as well over Christmas, that you just, you want to put those boundaries in place to make sure that you keep yourself on your path that you've decided yourself, so you don't get too far off. So if someone's pressurizing you, oh, let's have another drink, just have those firm boundaries. How far and where those boundaries need to be for you. You're the best person at deciding what those boundaries are, and where they need to be. But I think that's a really important point, actually.
It's incredibly important. And it comes back to Christmas being about yourself ultimately. Make sure that you're prioritizing your own needs as well. Really, really good. And the final thing I think that's important for us to talk a little bit about as well is just self-care. So self-care, great many meanings. It can mean looking after yourself. It can mean taking a shower every morning. It can mean going for a walk. But it's always going to be unique and independent to the individual, to the person that's applying that self-care there. But a couple of points that I'd like to just highlight. Speaking to yourself kindly. Really important. Recognizing that I think something I worry about is that people put extra pressure on themselves, expecting that they need to be a certain way or they need to feel a certain way around Christmas. That just isn't the case. Christmas is different for everybody. For some people, it means something in particular, but for other people, it can just be another day of the year. Neil Simmons, one of our wonderful well-being coaches, for instance, we call him the Grinch, don't we?
Really not a Christmas fan.
Really not a Christmas fan. For him, it's just another day of the year, and that's okay. And I imagine, will have to speak kindly to himself to remind himself he doesn't need to meet anyone else's expectations. It's all right. He can just crack on with what he wants to do. Take time out and rest.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to take yourself out of the room. Don't be afraid to curl up with the dogs and watch a film. Yeah. It's really important to make sure we're doing that. Cook yourself your favorite meal. If you don't want to cook, order your favorite takeaway.
Yeah, there are Christmas dinner, but there's lots of other meals, isn't there, over the Christmas period. So yeah, if you've done enough, if you've cooked Christmas dinner, look for something else maybe on the next day, an easier option. Yeah,
exactly. Really, really good point to make. I want to focus on gratitude. So potentially, rather than focusing around things potentially that you don't feel that you've got at that moment in time, focusing on the things that you're grateful for. And this is a huge topic that we like to discuss here at It's Rugby, but gratitude and the power of gratitude cannot be underestimated. Really important. Do what works for you. I've actually written here, sod the others. It's probably a little bit extreme, but just make it about you.
It is, yeah. And I think Christmas does become, the person who's organising it quite often feels it's Christmas for everyone else, but not for themselves, because they're making so sure that it's so perfect for everyone else that they actually forget what they would like to have in their Christmas.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then just the final point that I've got here, remember that support is available. It is available. And make sure that you reach out for that support, whether it's a close friend, a close family member, or other services as well. There is plenty of support out there, and we don't have to go it alone.
No.
So before we finish up, I think it's only right that we have a quick read of the comments as well.
Yeah, sure.
We have, yes, Mulan is a great film. Agreed, 100%. We have Jason who says, my mum is respecting my boundaries regarding my sister who I don't talk to. She says, let me know when she'll be there so I don't run into her when I visit. Brilliant.
Yeah, really good.
It's nice to know that your mum's respecting that as well.
Yeah.
Not trying to force an issue when it might already be settled in your own mind and your own right. Really, really good, Jason. We have Susie says, Disney movies, classic Mary Poppins, good, very good. Yes, I haven't seen that in years.
No.
But it's a really good one.
I'm not. Rom-coms.
Rom-coms, yeah.
You into those, Charlie?
Yeah, is Love Actually a rom-com?
Yes, it is.
Oh, good. Yeah, I like rom-coms.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was something that I discovered just a few weeks ago. I really like Love Actually. Lots of choice. I know I can find something. We have Can't Go Wrong with a Bit of Disney, Sue Saying Hi, and then finally, well done for sticking to your boundaries, Jason. It gets that your mum is being supportive in this way. I hope you have a lovely time.
Yeah.
And I think that seems like a really good place for us to potentially end the live today. So, just to remind you that over the Christmas period, it is about you, and you're also not alone. And if you do find that you're struggling at all, we are actually going to be closed, of course, over the weekend, but we're also closed on the 27th and 28th, where there are the bank holidays. If you do want to get in contact today, we've got the phone lines that are running until 12:30 today, but otherwise on Wednesday, we're open 9 to 5, next Thursday, 9 to 5, and on New Year's Eve, thank you, New Year's Eve, we are open from 9 to 12:30. If you do find that you need a little bit of extra support outside of that time, please make sure that you consider contacting Crisis Line on 01983 5222 14, 01983 5222 14, or otherwise Safe Haven, who I know are going to be operating with extended hours, and they can also support you. If you call them on 01983 520 168, 01983 520 168. But in the meantime, thank you very much for joining us today. And on behalf of everyone here at Isropia, stay safe and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.